Jesus' resurrection is a true historical fact.
I thought we had a friend.
Jesus' resurrection is a historical fact. It's been documented. We have the 500 eyewitness accounts. We also have the guards that saw the angel roll the tomb away when Jesus resurrected from the dead. We also have, again, extra biblical resources where people are talking about the Christians worshiping a resurrected king. And so there's just a lot of buzz around the fact that Jesus got up from the dead and appeared to so many people. So I think you have to do something with that.
As far as like resurrection evidence or speaking to that, for me, the most compelling evidence, she kind of touched on it, is the empty tomb. And it seems mundane, but when you actually look at the details surrounding it, it becomes much more significant. So you have to understand that Jesus was crucified in Jerusalem and then buried in Jerusalem. And I did a little research. Jerusalem at the time was roughly about 290 acres. So for context or to conceptualize that, I'm from Houston. So if you've ever been to Houston and you've flown out of Hobby Airport, then you can fit like 5 Jerusalems in Hobby Airport. And this is a small airport. So you have to, I guess, understand Jerusalem's probably the size of a small neighborhood. And so this is where he was killed and buried. This is also where Christianity essentially started. So when you think about it in those terms, we know where he was buried. It's not an unmarked tomb. The Bible tells us he was buried in the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea's tomb. But this is also the place where the disciples go and start preaching about a resurrected king. It would make no sense for me to start in this super small town where somebody can just say, let's end this whole man's career, roll the tomb back, let's see that he's still in there. But they didn't. They're preaching in this area, and it adds credence to their message because obviously the Jewish leaders hated Jesus. They crucified him. They had a lot of incentive to roll back the tomb, but they didn't. They said things like, oh no, the disciples stole his body. Yes. So the empty tomb is extremely compelling to me because if I were going to be a conspirator and create this whole thing like worship Jesus, I'm going to Africa because nobody's going to be able to fact check me, but I'm not going to stay in the place that he was resurrected and where his tomb is.
So following that, if Jesus really resurrected, then why didn't he show himself to everyone? The claim is that he revealed himself to over 500 people, but why not the Romans, the people who plotted to kill him, everyone? Why didn't he make a large public appearance?
It says in Matthew 12, he says, a wicked and detestable generation ask for a sign. Why does he say this? Because he spends almost the entirety of the Gospels giving people signs. He's healing people. He raises Lazarus from the dead. He's making the blind see.
So they wouldn't believe even if Lazarus rose from the dead. That's Jesus saying, even if they saw me, they would not believe.